Hey there, Jets Nation. Welcome back to One Jets Pod. Whether you're tuning into our video content or joining us on our audio-only platforms, we've got you covered. If you're enjoying what you hear or see, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't just gently tap, but smash that bell icon to stay notified whenever we drop new content. Also, we love comments and 5-star ratings. Thanks again, Jets fans. Now together, let's fuel the green and white passion. Let's go, Jets.
Welcome to JetLife Stadium. Hit it!
What's up, everybody, and welcome on in to the divisional round of the One Jets pod. It's Dominic Lorenz filling in. Well, I don't want to say filling, but I guess guest hosting here for the Dom Champagne Magic playoffs. We got Randy. We got Eric. And welcome back, Brandon, to the mix. We got a foursome this week. Everybody in the house. All right.
We got all the Jet Nation in the house, baby. Jets, Jets.
Pause, by the way, Dominic. Pause.
Yeah.
There you go.
Everybody in the house. So glad everybody's here.
You gotta force him up in.
No, it was great. It was great with Randy, Eric, and myself last week. But Brandon, he just finds a way to slither into the divisional round, and we'll get to this in just a few moments. In first place and leading the way, it's just like, I don't need you guys. I'm gonna come in when I'm ready. And he busts down the doors and says, "Welcome back."
Man, I appreciate y'all's patience, man. It's been busy. As you can see, I don't have my regular background. I've been traveling for work.
Where is the traveling of choice?
I made sure to pack that Yankee hat, though.
I'm in New York right now.
Okay.
I wore this for Randy, by the way.
It is still football season. Randy and I do not need to talk about baseball yet. Our team, the Angels, we're on death's door at this point. So
I plead the 1, 2, 3, 4 fields.
We will love sticking to football here tonight. But gentlemen, thank you guys for being on. It was a fun episode last week. Brandon, glad to have you back. And while Brandon is here, let's give him his props now. Let's get it out the way.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. Through the first 2 weeks.
Who's that?
The wild card round.
Pink. What is up with that pink?
I know. Through the wild card divisional round.
It's hot pink. All right.
It's hot pink. It was all good just a week ago.
I'm on fire on being in last place, baby.
I look like Kevin Hart, so I'm good.
Yo, Brandon's looking squeaky clean, man.
Oh my goodness. Hey, either way, if you're Brandon at the top,
or if
Randy
got the skinny jeans on in that picture,
or if you're Randy in the bottomless butthole at the end of this all.
I feel attacked.
Holy crap.
It's based on all your picks, brother. But last week, 4-0, a perfect sweep goes Brandon picking the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Niners, and the Lions. Myself and Eric battling back into this somehow, some way, 3-1. And then Randy, he tried going for the upset picks, but unfortunately failed, going 1-3 with his lone win being, I believe it was the 49ers.
Yeah.
I gotta stop doing that upset bullshit.
No, it doesn't happen that way. But everybody that came along, if you're just tuning in or if you've been living under a rock, here are your scores from divisional weekend and how we get
crazy week.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Chiefs, Ravens in the AFC, and Niners, Lions in the NFC. So it's been very good through the playoffs so far. Some surprises, some dominant performances, but it was the home teams that really took advantage this week, with the Chiefs being the lone road team. And remember, that was Patrick Mahomes' first road game that was not a Super Bowl. They squeak it out there in Buffalo. We'll get to that game in a little bit. Brandon, I'll give you the floor for a minute. 8-2 overall, and you're leading the point spread for the playoffs, I believe. Let me double check it. 4-0, so you have a total of 12 points here in the playoff pick'em. So how you feeling?
Wow.
Hey man, I'm feeling good. I had a good feeling about. I just, especially that I went back and forth on 2 games. The especially last week, 2 games, the Tampa Bay Lions game and the Buffalo Chiefs game. I just don't believe in Buffalo. I never have. And so, but I thought for some reason they would squeak it out, being that the Chiefs don't have any receivers. But man, I tell you,
got DeMar Hamlin though.
Mahomes comes through.
Yeah.
But Mahomes just knows how to win. He just knows how to win, man. And it's hard to count him out. And it was nice to see the Lions, come through and make it to the NFC Championship game. And it's going to be, while I think the Niners are going to win this week, I think it'll be a nice test for the Niners if the Lions that we know can show up, because sometimes they've been a little iffy, but it should be a good game. Should be a good game for sure. But I'm feeling good, man. I'm glad I got some nice picks this past week and throughout the playoffs. So I'm hoping to keep that rolling this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So again, once we look at the weekly predictions, once again, Brandon at 8-2, myself and Eric at 5-5. Randy is also 5-5 as well. He gets pushed to the unfortunate last place spot with a 1-3 divisional record. But it's all up for grabs though, because the way the playoffs I've aligned them, for wild card was worth 1 point, 2 points for the divisional. Everything is worth 3 points. Now, every game you pick in the pick'ems is 3 points. So 2 games, so 6 points up for grid this week. So who the heck knows? Brandon could go on 0 for 2. Randy could take it all and jump back from last to first in a wild championship conference week. This is going to be absolutely amazing.
It's gonna happen. Here it comes.
Hey, Randy, all season long you've been asking for the perfect week, right?
Yeah, almost had it.
Almost had it. So you only got 2 games this week when we do the pick'ems later on in the show. You only got 2.
So we talking about reverse perfect week?
Reverse perfect. Yeah,
hey, all I know
much.
is that all I know is at the end of the day, Eric and I did the same thing. We're in it together, buddy. High five to you. We go 3-1. I love it, man. Let's keep it rolling.
Oh, shut up.
You got it, brother.
Yeah. From the pick'ems, to do a little more housekeeping, let's take a look at our full-on brackets. Now, again, the bracket does not change. Whatever we submitted at the very beginning stays throughout the entire playoffs. And looking at conference championship week, there is only one man that is still perfect on both sides of the bracket when it comes to AFC and NFC title games. And it's Mr. Eric. He had Ravens, Chiefs, and Niners, Lions. So now Eric gets a round of applause. His bracket is still somewhat intact. So that's looking good so far. So I'll give the same props to Eric that I did Brandon. Eric, how did you come to these being the final 4 here in 2023/2024?
I looked at who was playing the grittiest, and the coaches. Basically, the coaches, they're pretty much the ones that tell me like who's gonna succeed, like advance, and everything like that. So I pretty much leaned on that.
Yeah, well, you leaned on it pretty well because we all have red X's somewhere or not. Others, like myself, are uglier than the rest of y'all because I have no clean conference. Come on, I thought Niners, Dallas, Baltimore, Cleveland. That went out in a heartbeat. So props to you guys for putting it all together. And I'm the idiot that just didn't have the Niners versus the Lions. So I'm just the idiot here.
Well,
you're
not an idiot, bro.
I didn't realize that my actual bracket, I picked Buffalo to beat the Chiefs, but in my weekly pick, I picked the Chiefs to beat Buffalo.
And that is the nuance at the end of the day that Randy and I talked about. That said brackets will stick because every week we might change. Like I know Randy, he had Detroit going all the way, but he picked Tampa last week. So. I
kind of like that you kept them separate. I really do.
Like, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It's the playoffs.
Ass. Woo!
It's the playoffs. Shit's going to get crazy. Let's be real. Shit's about to get crazy. So let's dive into it. Let's dive into the divisional matchups. I know we got 4 people on the show. We're going to get to everybody. But let's start it off. A game that I know Randy, going into it, he's been on the Houston Texans bandwagon all season long. and he's enjoyed that. And C.J. Stroud, as announced today, in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
That's awesome.
Which is going to be amazing. Yeah. Unfortunately, didn't go the Houston Texans' way, and we'll kind of look here for a minute. C.J. Stroud not feeling good about himself. Baltimore unloading with a 34-10 big victory against the Houston Texans. So Lamar Jackson did what he had to do. Randy, I'll start off with you, Mr. Resident Houston Texans fan over here. Or at least CJ Stroud, because we've talked about it all season long. Houston has been a remarkable story here in the NFL. DeMeco Ryans up for Coach of the Year. Again, CJ Stroud up for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And then they have a defensive gentleman, I believe it's Will Anderson, that's up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah. So, Randy, what did you take away from this game? Was Baltimore just better, or what did you see from a 34-10 final?
Yeah, I mean, Houston coming into this, I mean, they kept it close, man. I mean, but that's kind of one thing with Baltimore this year that you don't really want to do is kind of keep these games close at halftime. Like you kind of want to try to separate yourself because, man, Baltimore on the second half, like I'm looking at these stats right now. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 22. While that's pedestrian in the air for 152. 100 on the ground, dude, with a pair of touchdowns, man. So, I mean, the way Lamar's playing right now, the way the Ravens are playing right now, I mean, I just can't see anybody beating them.
You said 100 on the ground, damn.
Well,
yeah,
they're playing totally
great ball.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was talking to a buddy of mine. I was like, because he was picking Houston, and I was like, man, Houston is a nice story, but they're a young team. Stroud's a rookie, young coach, and I said how it's going to play out is that it'll probably be close in the first half, but veteran teams make adjustments. You got a veteran coach over there in Harbaugh, a veteran quarterback in Lamar Jackson, and what did they do in the second half? They made adjustments and they destroyed the Texans.
Yep.
And that's what experience and veterans and well-coached teams do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a ground and pound game pretty much the entire time. 42 carries for 229 yards combined for the Baltimore Ravens, 100 yards for Jackson, 66 for Hill, 40 for Gus Edwards, and a chip in 23 for the former Jet, Dalvin Cook, who signed over about a week or so ago with the Ravens.
Before we move on,
Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and Dalvin Cook is your three, but Baltimore's notorious. Every week, you don't know who's going to get the ball the most.
Yeah,
so
those guys ain't scaring nobody.
I wouldn't be shocked if Dalvin Cook gets the meat of the carries and gets a couple of touchdowns. I wouldn't be shocked.
Not for nothing. I think Don is up to something because
no, he ain't.
I actually think Cook is going to be the gadget guy. He's going to be the gadget guy.
Go gadget. Take your ass back to the sideline. You suck.
No, they're tall. Like they're just going to toss the ball.
That
boy's soft as shit nowadays, man. He bounces off mother.
Down. The Dalvin Cook conversation could be that'll be Randy and Eric's side bet. Over under the side bet.
I'll see you guys next week when we talk about Dalvin Cook.
You said 40. Hold up, he had 44 yards.
No.
Cook had 44 yards. How many yards?
Dalvin had 8 carries for 23 yards. Now, in the defense of this conversation,
go gadget.
The leading rusher for the Ravens was Justice Hill with 13 carries. So Dalvin was only 5 off carries wise of the team lead. But and here's another factor. I'm going to defend myself here. That gentleman that you saw, Dominic, from a week ago, was the same gentleman that picked the Dolphins to beat the Chiefs. So why the hell are you going to believe anything I freaking say when it comes to anybody in the AFC East?
Exactly.
Why do you think I was laughing?
Bro, oh my God, bro. That was crazy.
Can we officially jump off that fucking hype train now? Come on.
I was being optimistic.
I guarantee you he'll probably have less than 30 yards on the ground this week, too.
Yeah.
He'll probably have a fumble, too. Watch.
Yeah, he's washed. He's washed, man.
Yeah, that is a wash.
That's a given. Yeah, definitely.
On the
put him in the delicate cycle.
What did OBJ do? Like, did he even play? Like,
Odell Beckham Jr., 1 catch for 12 yards on only 1 target.
holy
The
moly.
leading receiver was Zay Flowers, 4 for 41 on 5 targets.
Yeah.
And the one that put the most power to the punch was Isaiah Likely, 2 for 34 with a tutty. Now, fact about, and we'll talk about this when we get to the Chiefs versus Ravens game in the preview.
Wow.
Tight end Mark Andrews likely to come back this week.
Yeah.
So another
Okay.
weapon to the Ravens.
Huge.
So that'll be a difference maker. On the
All right.
opposite side,
That's Lamar's security blanket right there, man.
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the Gronk to his Brady type situation.
Absolutely. Great point.
For the Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, based on the numbers, it was a pedestrian day, 19 for 33, 175 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. There was no running game. Devin Singletary led with 9 carries, 22 yards. The biggest bright spot of this game, of course, Nico Collins, 5 for 68. I don't think there was anything Houston could do. They kept it tight, as we've all pretty much said through the first half. It was 10-10 in the third quarter. And then you just saw Baltimore chip away, and it was a little too much to overcome. But
I think that's
Yeah.
the main story for this game is the
Yeah.
lack of running game for Houston, man. Like that's why I say I think Derrick Henry's gonna be wearing that freaking bull on the side of his helmet next year, man.
That would be crazy. But Brandon hit the nail on the head, though. They, the Texans, they're a young team, man. They're young,
that I think with this performance this
Rookies
year,
everywhere.
Yeah.
they've had 2 or 3 consecutive 4-win seasons coming into this year.
Mhm.
They were pretty much around 500 up to the halfway part of the year. They exponentially increase with CJ Stroud playing out of his mind as a rookie. They have
Mhm.
set up themselves now to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
perennial divisional champions, competing for that easily for the next a decade. And they could even be better, as Randy put it out there, getting a bona fide running back. They did all this running this year with Singletary, Darren Ogabawale, and who was supposed to be their RB1, Damian Pierce, who hardly did anything this year. So they go get a bona fide running back in a Derrick Henry, in a Saquon Barkley.
Wow.
Somebody that fits the mold of this Houston Texans organization now with DeMeco
Which is not
Ryans.
far-fetched. It's not
No.
far-fetched.
They're going to be a problem.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
The days of Jacksonville owning that division, I think, are over.
I honestly still stand by what I said. I think the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans are going to be the most 2 active AFC teams in free agency this offseason. I really
And
do.
the Jets.
Oh
And
yeah,
the
Jets
Jets-
will be
Yeah,
Jets will
don't
be
forget
kind of
about
a
us,
distant
buddy.
third, but
They
I think as far as most money spent, I think you can count Kansas City and Houston in that. But Jets will definitely be they'll be right there in the conversation. But I mean,
They better be, man.
the Houston Texans are just showing. I mean, coming off
Yep.
a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach, not even the best defense. They don't a lack of a running game, and the fact that they won the division, won a playoff game.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought this team was win now and win later? Just add that running game, add a
Nobody.
couple of pieces to the defense. You're good to go.
I don't even think they were in a win now. I think I don't want to say they got lucky because they're talented. I think
Yeah.
it was like they realized going into practice at a certain point, like, we got a shot in this. Like, let's just play how we play. And if it happens, it happens. And if we don't make the playoffs, at least we have a measuring stick for next year. We go to the playoffs, it's like extra credit. We feel good about ourselves and a positive vibe going to off season in 2024. So I'm not going to lie. Tip of the cap.
And it's nothing to to shy at. That's the Houston Texans got themselves some postseason experience.
Yep.
That's big.
That will benefit CJ Stroud in the long end.
Absolutely.
And the coach and DeMeco.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that means the Colts are going to have to step it up then.
Big time.
And they could. They have a great
Big time.
young rookie quarterback in Anthony Richardson. Jonathan Taylor still there. Pittman's still there.
That's going to be I think Pittman's going to leave. But I still think that division is going to be a fun division to watch, man.
Yeah.
A lot of young, good talent in that division, bro.
Right. I think it was a David versus Goliath type of mentality in this game. And clearly the Ravens were the better team and they chipped away and did what they had to do. But I think we all can agree, tip of the cap to the Houston Texans, a bright future ahead. 1 down, 3 more to go. And let's show this wonderful graphic because this is where you 3 gentlemen, I'm going to lean to a little bit. Another AFC East divisional opponent goes down. The Buffalo Bills will move on to the Chiefs-Bills game as the Buffalo Bills go down 24-27 against the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And it was the game, I would say, out of all the four of the games, this was the game of the week. It was the matchup that everybody wanted to talk about.
It was the most watched.
Most watched.
Yeah.
Mahomes versus Allen, what everybody's saying is going to be the next Brady versus Peyton Manning type rivalry. You had Travis's brother, Jason Kelsey, taking his top off and dancing for the crowd and jumping out of suites. You had, and I got to do it. Taylor Swift was there. You got to keep that train rolling here on the podcast. It was one of those games. And then, of course, you had Buffalo missing kicks per usual. The final score in that game, again, if you're living under a rock, 27-24 in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. All of us, with the exclusion of 4-0 Brandon over here, had Buffalo in this game. So, Brandon, how, besides Mahomes being Mahomes, what really galvanized the Chiefs in this game? Because I know that I've said this on the show before. This defense for Mahomes has probably been one of the better defenses he has had to play with in his tenure in Kansas City.
Well, I don't know, man. I feel like when you look at both teams, when you look at Buffalo, they just cannot seem to get past the Chiefs. The Chiefs have always been in their way. If you look at the past just 2 or 3 years, they have matched up and they've played the Chiefs, but it was always in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think you have a better coach in Andy Reid, a better coach. Say what you want about. I know people love Josh Allen; they're crowning him and all that stuff, but he's not Mahomes. And I'm not a Chiefs fan, but when I look at that and I look at that team has done it before. That team knows how to win, gritty. No matter what, they just know how to win. And Mahomes did just enough. This is one of those games where we can't even say that the refs helped them out. They won this game outright.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills had an opportunity to tie the game up, and they couldn't close. They missed it. Channeling inner, Chris Norwood against the Giants, man. But
not to mention that big drop by Stephon Diggs. Big
drop
on.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up next. And Randy, you bring up a great point. In some of these instances in this game between the Chiefs and the Bills, sometimes I really felt it wasn't so much the Chiefs winning this game, it was Buffalo blowing opportunities. You had the deep ball to Stephon Diggs. You had of course, the field goal near the end that essentially wrapped up the game. And then if you look back early on, that first possession for the Bills to start the game, they got down all the way from one side to the other into the red zone, and all they come across with is 3 points. If they put an exclamation point at that first drive of the game and slap the Chiefs in the face a little bit and says, we're up 7-0, I think it changes potentially the complexion of this game. And I think Buffalo wins if they put a 1 or 2 extra exclamation points on certain drives. You also saw Josh Allen run the ball very well, but he also, instead of going for the underneath short routes to garner those extra yards, he tried making the big heroic play. So I think sometimes, it was more missed opportunities from Buffalo than the Chiefs winning this game. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
So Dom, to your point though, think about what made New England so popular, or what made New England so one of the most winningest franchises, right? During that tenure of Belichick and Brady, they took advantage of other people's mistakes for years.
Yep.
For years, man. They didn't always win outright. They saw the opportunity and they took advantage of other teams' mistakes. And that's exactly what the Chiefs did.
Yep.
The Chiefs took advantage of Buffalo's mistakes and they capitalized. And at the end of the day, they won the game. They did what was needed. They did just enough to get themselves back to the AFC Championship game. And it's same methodology, that same thing that was the Belichick and Brady era. Outside of that 1 year when they were blowing out everybody.
Yeah.
with Randy Moss and all them. But outside of that one year when they were blowing out, they were capitalizing on other people's mistakes. That was Belichick's claim to fame for a long time. So I think it's a lot of that too.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's, I think this game was so interesting to so many points because there was so many elements that could have changed. And I think it was, again, Buffalo missing opportunities, Kansas City operating under those circumstances and taking advantage of Buffalo's mistakes. And some things just went right. And it's one of those games where a team has your number. And even though it was in Buffalo, it didn't really matter. You look at the box score, Mahomes, let's be real. These are pedestrian numbers for the heir apparent to the NFL. 17 of 23 for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco runs 97 yards and a touchdown on 15 carries. Kelsey finally comes to play, who's had by his standards, a subpar year, 5 for 75 and a pair of touchdowns. And then all of a sudden, Marquez Valdes-Scantling knows how to catch a ball and makes 2 very important receptions down the field.
I wanna. Since you brought up Pacheco.
Yeah.
I got a little stat here for you.
Give it to me.
In this game, he forced a game-high 5 missed tackles. Of those 90 yards, 67 of those yards came after contact.
Wow.
He ranks second in rushing yards, 186, and rushing yards after contact, 124 this postseason.
Wow.
And to your point, it was mentioned quite a few times during this game that the first time this team met earlier in the season, when Buffalo won, Pacheco wasn't playing. He didn't play.
He had the shoulder injury.
Yeah, he had a shoulder injury. So that could have, that could have been the difference because that was a tight game too. How can you say otherwise when you look at the results from this past game? He proved to be really a kind of the difference in this game if you compare the 2 games.
Yep.
And Pacheco, he's Puerto Rican like me, so I'm happy for him.
There you go.
There you go. It's a double whammy either way.
I'm happy for him.
Either way, the Buffalo Bills can cry their tears. Everybody in the AFC, so it was the Dolphins last week, Buffalo this week. So really, that game in Week 18 between the Dolphins and the Bills, it ends up washing away at the end of the day because both teams are ousted before the AFC title game. So when looking at these 2 games, Ravens, Chiefs, and we'll get into the AFC title game playoff preview in just a little bit. It's going to be a dynamic matchup. It's basically the names. It's Lamar against Mahomes. It's everything that goes involved with these 2 matchups because these 2 teams, if we really look at it, haven't played each other as much as the Buffalo Kansas City matchup and situations like that. And again, for the second week in a row, Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs squad has to go on the road into a hostile environment in Baltimore. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And I know we'll get into it when we preview it. Anything else?
Yeah, before we move on, I want to play this clip.
I know you do.
I don't want this to be left unplayed.
Oh, that looks great. I told you guys the Bills are winning the Super Bowl, and I just got that shit tattooed. Bills Super Bowl 58 champions. And when they win the Super Bowl, not only am I going to win a shit ton of money, I'm going to solidify myself as the greatest sports bettor of all time. I'm speechless, bro. I got nothing to say.
To represent
that shit,
that is
as the president of the skinny white dudes of America, I don't endorse him.
All right, good.
I don't endorse him.
I will say this. He
No.
at least knew what he was doing. He got it small, thin black lines. He could get that lasered off. Nobody will ever know who had it except for the people that saw him on social media.
Exactly. And to your
I
point,
just don't get why people every year do that shit. It's so
and
stupid.
guess what I have seen online all week so far. Detroit Lions fans doing the same thing.
Oh, it's a curse. It's
Well,
a
if
curse.
this is a curse, I'll take it to the bank, baby. Save this audio if it happens. I'm just saying. Save it right now. But looking back,
man.
so Houston, tip of the cap, season's over. Buffalo, Josh Allen, great season. They were the 11th seed. They found a way to get all the way from 11 to 2. Sayonara to them. It is for the AFC title game. Done. Chiefs, Ravens at Baltimore. They will have the first slot on Sunday at high noon on CBS. So that is your AFC title matchup. Mahomes against Lamar Jackson, Andy Reid against John Harbaugh. It's going to be a very, very tight matchup.
Who's scheduling these games?
Afternoon long.
Who's scheduling these games? That should be the night game.
That's going to be a crazy game, man.
It's money to the networks, baby. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So looking at the brackets one more time. For the AFC side, Brandon had Buffalo and Baltimore, so he's halfway. He knows what's going on. You have Randy, who had Baltimore and Buffalo as well. I had Baltimore and Cleveland. And then Eric, the only gentleman on the panel who is still perfect on the AFC side of the bracket, Baltimore and the Chiefs in the AFC championship game.
Nice.
From the AFC to the NFC, and you know where I'm going to start. It's Tampa Bay and Detroit because you got to save the best for last in the 49ers. Detroit Lions beating the Tampa Bay Bucks 31-23 in this ball game. Tight game all around. We've said it numerous times on this show. Everybody put down Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks. He gets all the way to the NFC divisional round just to get bounced in a tight game against Detroit. Detroit's been an absolute phenomenal story. That crowd was rocking all game long. And just like Buffalo, Kansas City, both teams in this game had plenty of opportunities to put the opposing team away, but no one wanted to put the exclamation point on it until Detroit around the halfway point of the fourth quarter. So I believe but Randy picked Detroit in this game. So I'll start with Randy being the odd man out in this situation. Detroit gets it done, but for 2 weeks in a row now, they've shown weaknesses where the other team has kind of sniffed around an opportunity to knock Detroit out. What does that say about Detroit, or is that just playoffs being playoffs?
Oh, man, I think that could be playoffs being playoffs, but I just think while other teams had Detroit on the ropes, they just didn't finish the job because Detroit could have easily lost these last, these other two games, man. But these other teams just didn't capitalize on the mistakes, that Detroit was handing them, and Detroit just, in my opinion, got lucky and won these games. I don't think that's going to happen with a team like the 49ers. You cannot.
Yeah, you can't.
You cannot afford to make mistakes or hand the 49ers anything. I mean, the minute you do, you've hung yourself. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But in the same token, 49ers got to be careful too, because they, I know, Dom, you're like, man, they can't come out slow.
No. And I'll get to that in my 49ers rant in a little bit. But Detroit is as Randy put it, Detroit is a team where they have a lot riding for them right now. I will admit, it's great for the city of Detroit for the amount of years that they've gone winless and under 500, and for Dan Campbell to come into Detroit and this is his third season, to revamp this entire organization into a winning culture, not just a winning team, but a winning culture. I will tip my cap to that any day of the week. No doubt about it. Just like what D'Amico Ryans is doing for Houston, winning culture. And everybody thought Jared Goff was dead in the water when he went to Detroit. Just like everybody thought Baker Mayfield. And to give props to Baker Mayfield, 26 of 41, 349 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. And I know the pick that sealed the game at the end of the day, but Mike Evans, potentially his final game in a Tampa Bay Buccaneer uniform, 8 for 147 with a touchdown. Cade Otton, their tight end, went crazy again. 5 for 65 with a tutty. Tampa Bay is really good right now. And I think they are going to be a good team if they re-sign Baker Mayfield. But before we continue on in this discussion, we got to take a breath for a second. So I'll breathe in. Breathe out, because there's so much to divulge into this NFC side of the picture, not just because it's my 49ers and I'm, it's that type of week. I'm got nervous energy here.
Yeah.
We got to let the fans know about a bigger important thing more than the NFC. Randy, cue it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this offseason, get ready to witness history in the making as we gear up for the upcoming first annual One Jets Pod Champagne Magic Awards. Come join Randy, Brandon, Dom, and Eric as they take the stage to honor the remarkable individuals or unremarkable individuals who have propelled the New York Jets to new heights or have given us fans great heartburn. From the electrifying plays on the field to all of the nonsense off of it, these awards will celebrate the true essence of your Jets fandom. So get ready, because this offseason, we're raising our glasses to the gift that keeps on giving. The New York Jets. See you this offseason. Go Jets!
The gift that keeps on giving, the Champagne Magic Awards. I know we're
already starting to work on that stuff. I'm not showing anybody anything until it's live.
It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I know it'll be an award show dedicated to the Jets, which is going to be awesome. I know, trust me, I wish we could be talking about the Jets. And I know as the resident Niner/Jet fan, everybody's like, you're a Niner fan. Why the hell do you give a care about the Jets? I care about my brothers.
Because we force them to over here.
Yeah, I know. I want my brothers to succeed. I want my brothers to I want them to enjoy postseason football. So it'll be nice to talk about Jets, even though the highs and the lows of this season when we get to the Champagne Magic Awards after the season. But let's dive back on into the Tampa Bay Detroit game. Before the little commercial break, we gave you Baker Mayfield stats on the opposite side for Jared Goff. 30 of 43 for 287 yards and 2 touchdowns. What impressed me a lot, he spreads out the ball to multiple receivers. 8 receptions to Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 to Sam Laporta, 4 to Jahmyr Gibbs, and then a couple other to everybody else.
Dom, can I say something real quick? And they made a great point to mention this on PFF. The Lions got a lot of shit for taking Jahmyr Gibbs with the 12th overall pick. And he's over here fucking showing up in the playoffs for him. Beasting out, baby. So you know what? How about that? That's a hell of a to the critics, baby. Good for
Beast. But what Detroit has done well, having a 2 running back system, is that David Montgomery is there for the power. He is there to gut through the O-line and get through the D-line and get your touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's not that power back. He's going to be the elusive outside the tackles running back, and then the check down passes and use his speed. So they balanced it off very well.
You need that power back to wear down
not
the
to mention,
defense.
Not to mention the stud in St. Brown.
St. Brown is good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
that's
Jameson
a good
Williams,
young football team, man.
Yeah, Jameson Williams is coming on, and so they got a nice squad over there, man. Nice young of players, sure.
Yeah, they took this game and Tampa Bay put in a fight. Tampa Bay throttled Philadelphia the week prior. And Tampa Bay, I know there was controversy at the end of the game where Tampa Bay still had one more timeout to go. And there was about 34 seconds and it was 4th down. They would have forced Detroit to punt. And probably with the punt, Tampa Bay maybe would have had 20 seconds to get down the field. That is 20 seconds you could have had to try at it. But I think Tampa Bay, I don't know if it was Todd Bowles didn't understand or they just weren't focused. It was like, hey, we're going to call a truce and just wave the white flag. Yeah, there's conspiracy theories that, it's the NFL script is in process. It's like, hey, nothing's perfect here in the league. But, tip of the cap to Detroit. They go out and get the dub in this case scenario. I maybe it was just me, and you guys can either agree or disagree. Did anything in this game surprise you? Because for me, this game played out exactly how I thought it was, to almost a T. Kind of a back and forth game.
The thing that surprised me was that, dude, Detroit had some injuries in that game. and they
Their
still
O-line.
pulled it off.
Yeah.
Even their center that is going to the Pro Bowl, Frank Ragnow, like he got injured too in the final. I think it was like 1 minute 40 seconds left,
And he hasn't
something like
practiced
that.
all
And
week.
yeah, dude, and but they still pulled it off. Like that speaks volumes to me.
Yeah.
You know?
And to Brandon's point, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a dynamic wide receiver. I saw him all the time when he was a USC Trojan, and he's basically doing the same exact things in Detroit that he was doing at USC. So the connection he and Jared Goff have is pretty remarkable at this point. And just like the Texans, Detroit, they keep this formula and this culture right now with Dan Campbell. I wouldn't be shocked if Dan Campbell goes out and gets a contract extension this year.
Oh, absolutely.
And
you know what's crazy about this whole ordeal?
What
is the fact that when Jared Goff was traded to the Detroit Lions, he was basically viewed as a discard, just a stopgap guy. He is their franchise fucking quarterback.
Yep. He resurged his own career.
That was a hell of a trade.
And I love it. I love it too because he's doing everything quietly. Like he's like throughout this whole year, throughout this whole season, and even a little bit last year too. Like he's just been quiet, humble, just
he learned a lot.
Balling out, man. Like
I think he learned a lot coming from the LA market of being with the Rams and going to a Super Bowl and losing to the New England Patriots and going through all the ebbs and flows that he went through, and especially the last season he was in LA. It was very tumultuous with Sean McVay, even though they're on, I guess, good terms now, but it was tumultuous at that time. I think he learned a lot, and I think that was good for him, especially being a number one pick in the draft from Cal, who a lot of people thought isn't he, or Carson Wentz, who was going to have a better career, and he really didn't ball out like a number one draft pick. So for him, hey, just like Baker Mayfield, it was almost like the former number one reject bowl on Sunday that these two went head to head. And like I said, I felt the game went exactly as I thought it would.
For me, I think what was most surprising is the fact that Tampa Bay is still playing at that high level. Like at some point you were waiting for the shoe to drop, right? You were waiting for like, all right, is this team for real? Can this team? But they just keep on. They just kept on being a difficult out for whatever team that they've played over the course of the season, especially over the past 6 games, including the playoffs. And I was never a big fan of Baker Mayfield, but you can see the growth in his game. You can see the maturity in his attitude, because obviously when he was coming out, he was this cocky kid and all that stuff. But you can see that that's changed, and he's grown. He's growing up.
He has.
That has had an impact on his game, and you love to see stories like that, like Goff, like Baker Mayfield, the cast-offs where they go into a situation and it's perfect for them. Like I'll be really surprised if Baker Mayfield is not in the Tampa Bay uniform next season.
Well, except for that one part when he got sacked. Remember when he got sacked?
And late in the game, and he got picked because that guy was kind of just staying on top of it. And it was like, you're in the 2-minute drill.
You saw the grit in him. The grit in him came out. Like,
But I think, but to Brandon's point, and actually to all your points, this area, Tampa Bay, is the right market for somebody like Baker Mayfield. He went to Cleveland, and Cleveland at that time was an organization that needed a quarterback to fix their organization. The laundry list of quarterbacks, and is he the one? And that was the main focus. And he was under the microscope. Then he leaves, goes around every other team. He has a little bit of a resurgence with the Rams at the end of last year. And teams kind of perk up like, oh, okay, maybe this guy's matured. And now he put a full year on tape of maturity and all the attributes that Brandon put out there. If he's not in a Tampa Bay uniform, I don't care if it's a 1 year, 2, whatever type of deal it is.
I'd be shocked.
And the real question is, not just to Baker, before we move on to the Packer-Niner game, Mike Evans. Does he go back to Tampa, or is he wearing another uniform next season? So I'll a quick poll.
I hope he's wearing in white.
Thumb up if Mike Evans stays in Tampa, or thumbs down if he's with another team. 1, 2, 3, go.
Thumbs. I think he's gonna stay.
Not if they're giving a long-term contract.
There we go. Yeah, 3-1. So I think this is going to be an interesting conversation because I know they got Chris Godwin. They have a couple other younger receivers who have speed. Ricard White is a very dynamic back. I don't think, in my opinion, if you're Tampa, how do you replace Mike Evans if he goes?
You don't.
You don't. You can't.
You can replace
1,000
him.
yards for about 12 years. 1,000 yards for 12 years straight.
And I think
That's
that
never
is-
been done before.
Yep.
Jerry
the
Rice did it
element.
with your San Francisco
Veteran league
49ers
state.
for 11 years, but other than that, no one's even came close to that.
Well, you
That's
may not be
insane.
able to replace what he's done for the franchise. This is an off season where you have some big name receivers that are available. You got the T. Higgins, you have the Michael Pittman Jr., you have Calvin Ridley. He's available. So you got guys like that they can.
And they'll all probably be cheaper than Evans too.
A lot
maybe,
cheaper.
Probably.
maybe, yeah, maybe. So they'll have options. Will he be the same homegrown guy that was drafted by Tampa and all that stuff? Probably not. But I don't know. While I want Mike Evans in a Jet uniform, something tells me that he goes back and he stays with if they re-sign Baker. If they re-sign Baker, I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
I think so
Tampa
too.
Bay.
I all of a sudden got this feeling because especially when we're talking a long-term contract for Baker Mayfield, I got this suspicious feeling that Mike Evans is somehow going to land his ass in fucking Kansas City, man.
Nah, don't say that.
I got a feeling, bro.
I feel that about
that
every
shit.
single wide receiver. T. Higgins, Calvin, like somebody big is going
They'll get
to
somebody. They'll get one of those for sure.
Yeah, and that's my feeling in the matter in that case. But
I don't understand that. How is there cap space? Like, see, this is what I was saying the other day with Mr. Greenbean. Like, you guys remember when the Saints went like on a 10-year run where they went above their cap space and they were just making the playoffs every freaking year?
Yeah.
How come we can't do that? How come these other teams do it but we never fucking do it? Like, I don't get it. It's insane.
What is your point again, Eric?
No, the Saints. Remember when they went on that 10-year run where they went above their cap space and they were still making the playoffs every freaking year? I think it was from like
they were
like 2000 to it was like from 2000 to like 2010. Like every year they went
they
drafted around the Katrina era.
They had a lot of good young talent. They were drafting well. Drew Brees was playing well. Remember that was around the time that they drafted Kamara. And they had drafted the Marcus Colston.
True.
Mike, what's the other guy? Mike Thomas. Is it Mike Thomas?
Yeah. They
Oh,
also had
Marquise Colston too.
Marcus Colston. Yeah.
Then they had Darren. Didn't they have Darren Sproles in his prime?
Jimmy Graham when he was good.
Sproles was nasty.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill. I mean, so
it also helps when you got guys taking pay cuts to help the team. Bring guys in.
Yeah, but every year they were going above their cap space and they were always in the playoffs. Like, I don't understand why we can't fucking do that. Like, why do we gotta let Huff go? Like, just bite the bullet, keep Huff, and
I mean, I think we will. I think we'll keep Huff. I mean,
I hope so, man.
So. We need to.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, as you Jets fans, you're probably like, can the Jets not jet anymore?
Yeah, for real.
Please, that's not. But looking at everything now, so again, Detroit, by virtue of their 31-23 final score over the Tampa Bay Bucks, they have advanced to the NFC title game that will be hosted, as you can see on the bottom right of your screen right now, by my San Francisco 49ers, who beat the Packers 24-21, and to give credit to where credit is due to Mr. Randy and these incredible graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the heads down, unfortunate losers of this week. Jordan Love is loveless.
Can you show Josh Allen?
I can do it one more time for you, gentlemen.
Yeah, there you go.
Right there.
That looks sexy.
There you go.
There we go.
But now to the time I want to talk about the 49ers. They won 24-21. Was it a sexy win? No. Was it?
No, they aren't always.
No, not at all. But was it gritty and adversity? Where here in the postseason, adversity is going to treat you well. And Randy and Eric, you guys will remember when I said this live last week. Mm-hmm. Champions behave like champions before they are champions.
Yep.
And that is the exact mentality that went to this game, because I was I promise I'm a Niner fan, and I am. I was not as diehard as I should have been because I was at a basketball game while this game was going on. I was streaming the Niner game on my phone while watching a basketball game. That was intense.
That's crazy.
2-for-1
Ouch.
special on a Saturday. And from what I could see early on, and I know the biggest factor in all of this at the end of the day, and all of us talked about it in our group chat, is the health of Deebo Samuel. And everybody talks about, and I'm going to get on the Brock Purdy train in a minute because the media to Brock Purdy this week has been absolutely put a pistol on my mouth. I'm so annoyed right now. Deebo, in a weird way, is the heart and soul of this offense because he is that Swiss Army knife amongst a lot of other different players on this team where it changes the complexion. For the Niners being the number 1 seed, they had 2+ weeks to figure out a game plan for whoever they were playing. It didn't matter. Deebo's a part of that. He is more than 50% of that offensive scheme. Just even with, if you're looking at blocking and other situations. So when he goes out in the first drive of the game and doesn't return, that is, you are in audible mode throughout the rest of the game. And huge props to Jawan Jennings. 5 catches, 61 yards. He came up with multiple third down conversions that were dynamic. His run and pass blocking ability is phenomenal. He filled the shoes of Deebo Samuel as best as he could in that situation. No doubt about it. Was Brock Purdy perfect? No. Is he supposed to be? No. He threw up 252 yards, 1 touchdown. He still had a quarterback rating of 61.9 and an overall rating of 86.7, which was still higher than other quarterbacks in this divisional round. So get that slander out your mouth. Then get that slander out. Then you have Christian McCaffrey, 17 carries, 98 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. He was the catalyst workhorse in this game. Before I jump on the Brock Purdy, all the media stuff, Randy, what did you gentlemen, Randy, I'll start with you, besides the grittiness of this game and the Niners having to dig deep, be that championship-style team, what is the vibe of this playoff matchup? Because I'll tip my cap off once again to the Green Bay Packers. They gave us the fight, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers showed us that I think they're going to be good for a while. I think they're going to give the Lions a fight in that division. I think as of right now, that's the Packers and the Lions division. Lions slightly the better team, I think. But I thought it was a little uncharacteristic this week of the Niners. They didn't seem to get a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. That kind of surprised me. I think the Niners are going to work on a lot of that this week. I don't think we're going to see another week of that. I think they're going to be all up Jared Goff's ass this week, to be honest with you.
And that's the hope.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing that stood out to me in this game, and I want to shout him out big time, and that's 49ers linebacker Dre Greenlaw, man. I mean, homeboy picked off Jordan Love twice. I mean, he had, 9 solo tackles, 3 defensive stops.
That was insane.
Dude, I mean,
and
he
was
one of the first guys to the ball. This
was a guy who was a game-time decision due to a foot injury.
Yeah.
And he balls out like this.
I think he's going to be a big factor in this upcoming game, against Detroit. So,
no, Dre Greenlaw was an unsung hero, and this Niners defense at times looked suspicious in this game. Jordan Love carved them up a couple of times, and I will again give Jordan Love credit to that. The Packers came in with the plan, and they were riding high from the Dallas victory, and very similar to the Baltimore-Houston game in my eyes. Baltimore and the Niners did the exact same thing. Gritted out through 3 quarters, and when it mattered most in the 4th quarter, you drive, make the second half adjustments, and get the dub. It took the Niners longer than the Ravens, but you got the job done at the end of the day. Props as well to George Kittle, 4 for 81 and a touchdown. He has come on the scene. Brandon Ayuk has come onto the scene. Deebo Samuel. Everybody on this Niners offensive side of the ball are having career years.
Hey,
not just one, but career years. Yes, Brandon.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
When you think of George Kittle,
yes,
and then you look at some of the premier tight ends in the league, do you think he's consistent enough to be compared to a Mark Andrews, to a Kelsey, to some of those top end tight ends? Do you feel like he's consistent enough?
Now, under Brock Purdy, yes. And even during the Jimmy Garoppolo era, I would say yes again. The reason being, out of those 3 tight ends that you told me, by far, George Kittle does more off the ball than the other 2 do. When you look at the way the Niners run their offense under Kyle Shanahan, and it's a run-heavy offense, and now especially with Christian McCaffrey having a Pro Bowl back, even the years that we had Raheem Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, who's still on the squad, Jeff Wilson Jr., and beyond, the Niners were always a run-first team. And the way George Kittle takes pride in the blocking ability and being the guy out on the edge, even in the passing game, creating those, to me, and you all know I've talked about this a lot, and especially when we talked about the Jets, and I said the Jets, in order for them to really accentuate Breece Hall more than Breece Hall already is, who PS should be under the comeback player of the year. That's another story for another day. Let's not go there. But if the Jets can have somebody, tight end wide receivers that are really good blocking wide receivers off the ball than when they have the ball, that's going to take your offense to a next level. And that's what George Kittle brings to this 49ers offense. So in my opinion, Kelsey is phenomenal at receiving the ball, running routes, and doing his business, breaking tackles. Mark Andrews, roughly around the same thing. But if I had one tight end to take, I'm taking George Kittle. And it's not just because I'm a 49er faithful. He is an all-purpose tight end that does the job on every facet. You don't see Kelsey and Andrews block as much. I would say Andrews more than Kelsey because the Ravens have more of a run offense than Kansas City does because Mahomes, throws the ball, 30, 40 times a game.
And I believe Kittle comes from tight end university, right?
The Iowa University.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So
yeah, the reason I asked that question is because he doesn't often get mentioned.
No.
At all with those guys. I mean, yeah, he's
okay with that though. He's good. He's great about that.
I'm just saying, like, he can be okay with it. I'm just saying, like, as a Niner fan, you want your guys to be recognized, right? As a fan of the team. As a Jet fan, we want our guys to be recognized.
Like Breece Hall today. Breece Hall today. Breece Hall today, dude. Like that was a smack in the face today, bro. When comeback player of the year, they give it to these 4 Mickey Mouse dudes. They put up Joe Flacco and these 3 other Joe Schmoes. Like, tick me off, dude. Like, come on, man. Like,
that's my point. Like, that's my point. Yeah. You want your guys to be recognized for what they do. And for whatever reason, I don't think Kittle gets that same recognition. As it relates to the other premier tight ends in the league. I was just wondering what you thought, if it was his consistency or what you think it is why he doesn't get that same recognition as those other guys.
I think because we are in a quarterback-driven league where everything is very pass-orientated, and even if the wide receiver has a phenomenal day, the onus goes back on the quarterback for making it happen. And George Kittle is the first guy that says, even if you watch any of his post-game press conferences, wins or losses, he's thanking everybody else, and that's just his demeanor and personality.
Oh, okay.
So I think when you have players like that in this league, and I'm not saying Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews are like, it's all about me, it's all about me. No, I'm just saying when you have somebody like that, the media is naturally going to turn a blind eye. And there's going to be like, okay, it's just somebody being, okay, we want somebody.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Like, it's a great transition. I'm glad you asked that, Brandon, because looking at that type of personality, how it matches then Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy, if you know what Brock Purdy reminds me of, and this is the best way, the way he walks into the stadium with his, basic clothes and whatever, it's like it's somebody off the Kohl's mannequin in the store. It's just some basic Midwestern guy who went to Iowa State, grew up in Arizona, just small town kid.
Wait till he gets that first multi-million-dollar contract.
Exactly.
He's gonna bleach his hair. Watch.
Dye his hair like Odell Beckham.
It's kind of that. Let your on-field production speak for itself, and that's again where that championship mindset comes from. And for the media.
He's got a chance to shut everybody the fuck up this week.
For the media, with the exclusion of Richard Sherman and Pat McAfee, who were the only two in the mainstream media that had the balls, and J.J. Watt, I should mention, to defend and put some respect on Brock Purdy's name. The slander this boy is getting, no, not this boy, this man that is delivering the 49ers right now to an NFC title game 2 consecutive seasons, who, let's be real.
That's crazy.
Should he potentially be in the comeback player of the year as well for busting up his elbow in the Eagles game last year? I'm just putting that out there.
I don't see why not. I don't see why not.
It should be him against Breece Hall in our opinion.
But it should be ahead of fucking Joe Flacco. Come on, bro.
Dude,
like,
that was crazy. I just think that whole thing's rigged for DeMar Hamlin, Mr.
Roger Goodell. You fucking
all
suck.
Freaking year.
Yeah.
That was sentimental. That DeMar Hamlin, that was sentimental. That was all sentimental.
Yeah, that was, and the quick point about that, in the regard to the comeback player of the year, like Purdy should have been in it. He was injured and ruined the Niners Super Bowl.
Absolutely right.
But when you're looking at DeMar Hamlin, okay, let's play the real card for a minute. Are we happy that he is alive based on the situation that happened?
Absolutely.
No shit. Like the guy died twice on the field and came back to life. But did the actual playing on the field translate to what comeback of the player has been in the past?
He literally only had 4 fucking tackles, 2 solos, 2 assists,
and
a blown 5 games that he didn't even freaking start in.
Randy,
and a blown fake punt.
You can get 4 tackles.
Randy could get 4 tackles.
Yeah.
In one game, baby. What are you talking about?
4 tackles on one drive. On one drive.
Henry up right now.
On one drive.
Whoa!
Man,
like Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns in one game. Oh my
god! We don't want state coach put me in.
Oh yeah, Randy.
But you guys have heard me preach upon this, and I don't want to bore the One Jets fans. And I'm just putting facts. Brock Purdy is statistically, not opinion, statistically on paper better than Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes in the majority of categories. I know Lamar Jackson and Purdy went head-to-head on Christmas Day and situations like that. But Brock Purdy is first in so many quarterbacks, and the slander continues. They move the goalposts back every single time. Oh, he only orchestrated a 4-point comeback. It wasn't double digits. That's not good enough. What do you want the guy I feel if the Niners go and complete the quest for number 6 and get this championship this year, they're going to be like, well, he's going to have to do it again next year to get respect. Like, it's going to be this perpetual thing. And we talk about this all the time. Who doesn't love a story like Brock Purdy's from Mr. Irrelevant to this?
But wasn't he in the MVP race at some point this season?
Based on the awards today, he's in the MVP race. It's he, McCaffrey, Prescott, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen.
So he's getting recognized.
Right?
So
he's getting recognized. It's just it's the media slander, like the ESPN for takes, the Skip Bayless, the social, the social. It's like, when is enough where it's like the kid for a year and a half to come in when he was an afterthought, a third stringer last year.
Yeah.
What more do you want for 2 straight NFC title appearances, and you're basically an elbow ligament away from potentially being in the Super Bowl?
Imagine if Zach Wilson could do half of what he's done.
But there are people. That say without Deebo Samuel, Brock Purdy is no better than Zach Wilson. There are people that wholeheartedly believe that.
Brock Purdy is 10 times has 10 times more football smarts than Zach Wilson.
He may not have Zach Wilson's arm, but he's got everything else.
Everything else, man.
He's got the intangibles, and I think, as Randy put it, he has a chance. And you know me, I don't like cussing too much on the show, but this is the week if he wants to ball the fuck out and show the fuck out.
My virgin ears.
Holy crap.
This is the week to do it. And trust me, I could get more heated than this, but we've spent enough time because I know we got to do the pick'ems.
Yeah.
This is a situation where Deebo's going to play. From the sources I know, Deebo's going to play. He's not
hurt or not.
Yeah.
He's absolutely playing.
And even if he's hurt, he'll be using a run block scheme, just having his presence on the field makes Detroit have to look at him.
And
I know
they'll shoot him up, make sure there's
man.
no pain. He's playing these next 2 games. 100%.
I know we got to move on, but I don't know, Dom. If you can get another receiver that's more reliable, health wise, would you do it?
To add to this bunch, or would I have to lose one of them?
In lieu of Debo. He's just always. It just seems like he's always hurt. Like something's always going on with him.
I agree. There's always something. It's never like a season-ending injury.
Yeah.
It's always like a knick-knack out for 3, on for 3. Yeah, it's one of those situations I think where. No, I think because the amount, kind of like George Kittle, in the sense where he is such a Swiss Army knife in this offense. He plays on so many different levels, and I think that's what makes the 49ers special. McCaffrey, Swiss Army knife. Samuel, Swiss Army knife. Kittle, Swiss Army knife. The really only non-Swiss Army knife is Ayuk. He is a pure wide receiver.
But I think for that point that you just mentioned, right, the fact that you have so many Swiss Army knives, you can get away with letting Debo go for a more reliable, health-wise receiver. Let's say, for instance, right, let's say you have, you still got CMC, right? You still got CMC. You still have Ayuk, Kittle. Let's say you threw T. Higgins in there. Or Calvin Ridley, right? Well, more so T. Higgins, because Calvin Ridley gets hurt too. But more like or Mike Evans. Dare I say a Mike Evans?
Oh, no. That would be crazy, dude.
You already got your Swiss Armies, right? You can do those.
It's a good point. It's a good point to have. I see where you're coming from in the sense of the beating and banging. Like a lot of people were saying that even if Debo wasn't healthy this week, you should line him up at the RB position and flip McCaffrey to where Debo plays, because Debo can be McCaffrey can be a pure out wide receiver. And you could still have that threat of Debo in there. So they are interchangeable. And I think if Brock Purdy was the type of quarterback like a Mahomes, like a deep ball threat, instead of the undercut blocking route, short change it, and Brock Purdy does throw deep balls, everybody. Let's remember that. Then I could see a Mike Evans come in and elongate the field a little bit and change the viewpoint that defenses have to have. I think it's a healthy problem to have if you're the 49ers, because if there was a trade on the table or something, it gives the 49ers ultimate leverage at the end of the day.
Yeah. Health problem is another way to say champagne problem. We can move on.
Tipping the cap on that one. Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Poppy.
Champagne Poppy right there. But again, for the divisional round, these are the final scores. The Chiefs will be venturing out to Baltimore in the AFC title game, and Detroit will be heading west. And here's a fun stat, about the Lions-49ers game. This will be just the second game in the last 8 weeks for Detroit outside of a dome. Okay. The last time they played in the outdoor game, I don't remember the team. I'd have to look back. They got blown out 33-8 or 33-11, or it was a bad game for Jared Goff and the Lions. So this is the type of mentality we're in right now. But again, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. You never know. It's 4 phenomenal teams. Who's going to make it to Las Vegas on February 11th? So
4 out of 32.
Yep.
4 out of 32 are left. Before we get into the pick'ems this week, let's remind you, here are the standings. Brandon in first at 8-2 after a 4-0 divisional round. Myself, Eric, and Randy are in a 3-way tie at 5-5, but due to tiebreakers and points, I'm in second, Eric in third, and Randy in the pretty pink of fourth place. But hey, with the pick'ems this week, the conference championship round, each game is worth 3 points. So if we do the math at home, if Brandon only gets 3 of 6 points and Randy gets all 6, guess what? He's going right back in.
Moving on up.
Second, factoring in the mix. So we'll see what happens. So here we go. Let's preview it. Let's start with the AFC. You have the Chiefs and the Ravens. This is the matchup. The first game on CBS, kickoff at high noon. Gentlemen, Here we go. I'm putting Brandon. You are in first place. We're going to put you on the spot first. What do we got in this game?
Well,
and food for thought, this will be the tie-breaking points game as well.
Oh boy.
Okay. This one's tough. I mean, you got two veteran quarterbacks. You have two veteran head coaches. What gives me pause about Baltimore is the same thing that gives me pause about the Chiefs, their receivers. However, if I'm just comparing quarterback to quarterback, and when you factor in the receivers, Lamar Jackson can do more. So with that, I think I'm giving Baltimore the edge in this game at home, and everything else considered, I think Baltimore has the better defense. And yeah, I think this will be a really tight one, and I think I'm looking at a 2017 win.
Okay.
Baltimore, Justin Tucker for the win.
Tuck for the win. So Brandon will go Baltimore with 37 total points in the ball game.
Yep.
Randy, my brother, where are you going in this one?
Oh man. Yeah, I have a hard time now picking against the Ravens, after what they're showing in this playoffs. Lamar's playing his best football. I mean, he doesn't have to do it all through the air. I mean, he could kill you on the ground, dude.
Yeah.
So that's 100 yards. He said 100 yards, right? He ran 100
yards last week, man.
That's freaking insane, bro.
So there's their running game right there, dude. I mean, so you got to account for that. I think slightly. I think Baltimore has the edge in the weaponry department. I like Andrews a lot. Yeah, give me Baltimore in this one. 34-27.
Oh, 61 points.
Oh, high score.
High score. Eric, my brother?
Yes, sir.
Do we continue the Baltimore train?
Yeah, man.
Whoa,
I'm going to have to go that way. Now, the thing is, I like to lean towards who the better coach is. That's how I've been doing pretty damn good, with the AFC and everything like that, to see who's the better coach. Of course, Andy Reid, you got to tip your hat off to him. But the Ravens, you got to give it to the Ravens. I got the Ravens 27-23.
For a grand total of 50 on that regard. Well,
yes, sir.
I feel like a lot of people, and this is not to discredit what Eric just said, but I feel like a lot of people look at Jim Harbaugh like he's John.
Yeah. Harbaugh. No, he's a great coach.
But I'm saying, but I think a lot of people overlook the fact that not only he's been in the league a while, he's been in Baltimore for a long time, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Over a decade plus, he's been there. He's been the man, and he kind of like what Brandon was talking about George Kittle, where you don't hear about him enough. It's always Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin,
Hall of Fame coach, dude.
Hall of Fame coach,
hands down.
Hands down. I would really like to see him get a Super Bowl, man. Wait, he's already got one.
He's got one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got one already. Yeah.
No. We're not talking.
Who did they beat?
Damn.
Nobody gonna tell me?
Do I need to?
Y'all do then.
Oh, you're being serious now?
No.
Now he's serious.
Don't remind me.
Yeah.
Lights out.
Now go there. That's going to be 11 years ago. We need to get that taste out of our mouth. Anyway,
Randy, that was good, bro.
For that reason, I'm going to complete the trend. I'm going to go Baltimore in this game as well. again, you guys nailed all the points I was going to get to. I'm going to go with, I feel somehow, some way this could be a shootout. I'm going to go 31 Baltimore to 20. Yeah, 31-27 Baltimore.
31-27.
31-27, so 58 points in that setup. So it's going to be, I think, close, high scoring. It's going to be kind of like the Buffalo game, where it's going to be back and forth, who has the ball last, but who makes the least amount of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what can happen at the end of the day. So all four going for Baltimore in this matchup, and comparing it to the bracket. Well, we all have Baltimore in the Super Bowl, so we're right on point in the bracket side of the conversation. So again, that is the Chiefs-Ravens AFC title game. That'll be the first one on Sunday at high noon on CBS. Moving on down now to the game of the week. Here we go, 3:30 on Fox. The 49ers hosting the Detroit Lions in the NFC title game for 49ers once again in an NFC title game under head coach Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy at the helm for this one. It's going to be a tight, dynamic battle. Two great teams that represent the NFC this year. And here's my quick little tidbit what the 49ers have to do to succeed. Build upon what you did last week. Come out stronger than you did last week. You get the ball first, and whenever you do, if you're on defense first, punch him in the mouth. You need to put the ball in the end zone early and often against the Detroit Lions. Pressure Jared Goff. You know Jared Goff. He was with the Rams so many times. He's played in your building so many times. Even though it's a different landscape and a system with Dan Campbell and the Lions, you know it's Jared Goff to his core.
Yeah,
Pressure the hell out of him.
To pressure him this week.
You have Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Hargrave, Armstead, Gregory, Warner. You have all these guys.
To the quarterback.
And the Detroit Lions on the defensive side ranked 28th and 29th so far this year in passing yards allowed, 345 just in this postseason. So the Niners are a run-first offense, and they will run it with Christian McCaffrey. But Brock Purdy should have no problem slinging the ball down the field, finding the open receiver, and have to make the tough throws when you have to, because it's going to be a game of games. It's the NFC title game. The Niners have been through this before in more trying times like last year with Purdy and the elbow. So, and as I said once, and I'll say it again numerous times, champions behave like champions before they are champions. And that's what the 49ers accomplished last week in Green Bay. They're going to accomplish it this week against the Detroit Lions. It's going to be a hard-nosed battle. Put your foot on their throats and suffocate them to the end. I got the 49ers in this game.
Okay. Well, the Lions, I tip my hat off to them because that's been an organization that's been around, I don't know if you guys know, since 1934.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And their fan base, like, I got to tip my hat off to them because they're probably one of the least, like, delusional fan bases that has not made it to the playoffs ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. Like, the Dolphins, they're delusional. Like, these guys, Detroit, they're like the coolest fan base that I've got to see, outside the box. What I love about them is not only, Dan Campbell, his story and everything like that, but I don't know if you guys know, but their front office, a lot of their personnel is African American. And they've done a lot of scouting, scouting these young boys and everything like that. That's kind of like what I wanted to mention about the Ravens too with Lamar Jackson. I wanted him to win the whole thing, being an African American. It hits me, a certain way. But these Lions, I would love for them to win, but on paper, when I look at the paper, like, the 49ers they're just loaded. So I'd have to give it to the 49ers. I got the 49ers winning 28-17.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm in favor of that. I'll take it.
Even though I want the Lions to win, but on paper, I gotta go where the paper.
You gotta play for the point game. You gotta play for the point game.
Yeah, man. Sucks, man. So it's like, it's a sour taste in the mouth, but yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe. Brandon, what do you got on tap?
Yeah, I'm kind of going with the same theme here. As much as I would like to see the Lions win it, because just for the simple fact that as Jet fans, they're basically like us.
Mhm.
They have not been
Yeah.
there. They have not seen it. They haven't had the opportunity to see their team go to a Super Bowl. So for that reason in particular, you like to see a team like that make it. And we hope that people feel the same way about the Jets, right? However, I just think that the 49ers, I think this is a sneaky good matchup for the. I think they're a little more even than people want to give the
Mhm.
Lions credit for in
Oh
this
yeah.
matchup. Um, I think they pulled this one out. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I do, but I do think that the Niners will show why they've been like the, you know, media darlings outside of Purdy. But they'll prove why they're one of the teams to beat in the NFL, and their talent will reign supreme
Mhm.
in this game. So yeah, I got the Niners taking this one.
Randy, do you
I
keep the
don't
mojo
particularly have a
going?
score, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably going to go a little opposite of Brandon here. I'm still picking the Niners.
Okay.
I just think the hype train ends for the Lions here. I think the Niners are going to be too much for the Lions to handle. I think after not getting to the quarterback like the Niners are known for doing last week against Jordan Love, I think they're going to make that an emphasis. And to be honest with you, like I said, I think the hype stops here for Detroit, and I think San Francisco is just looking to kick some ass. I think this is the game where Brock Purdy finally shows everybody that, hey, I am the real deal. You can shut up. I wasn't here last year. I didn't get to play. I didn't get to finish this game last year. I'm going to finish it this year, and I'm going to show you why I am the real deal. And he's going to march up and down that field for the San Francisco 49ers and kick the Lions' ass to the
That
tune of
candlestick. Yeah.
31-17. Levi Stadium, brother.
Oh, Levi. Yeah. My bad.
It's always it's always going to be candlestick at heart, brother. Always
There you go.
candlestick. But no, I agree with you, Randy. I think it's going to be one of those scenarios. The weather is going to
Yeah.
be 68 and clear. There
Beautiful.
will be no weather impediments, no nothing in this game.
Beautiful.
So the conversation will not be had.
Dom, do me a favor,
crazy.
Dom. Do not
Yes.
watch a basketball game while that game is on, okay?
Hey,
you gotta watch
it worked
bro.
out. It worked out. We got a dub last week, but that was, trust me, it was me. There was like 5 people. There were so many people around me doing the exact same thing, and it was just like, watch, timeout, watch, time.
Yo,
back
isn't
and
that
forth the whole
crazy?
time.
How the like people are today, man? Like,
Hey,
that's
you got to
crazy.
do what you got to do for your team, but for us, we got to do what we got to do. Before we go, there's one last thing I want to get to, but before we get to it, Randy, we got something very special that we want to, reiterate to the fans right now, and it's got let's see, 3 words: Unfiltered Sports Network.
Welcome to the Unfiltered Sports Network, where we believe in keeping it real and telling it like it is. No more are the days of sugarcoating or ESPN-style politically correct takes. No. This is the place where real sports fans gather to talk about the stuff that truly matters. From the latest headlines, transactions, to controversial news, we've got you covered. Join us as we dive into the unfiltered world of sports, where passion meets authenticity. Hit that like and subscribe button for more raw, honest, and uncensored discussions that will leave you craving for more. This is the Unfiltered Sports Network, where real sports fans talk about real shit.
There we go. Even though
There we
Dom
go.
will probably only curse like once every episode, but don't worry about it, guys. We got you covered.
I know the Unfiltered Sports Network would not have a problem giving Brock Purdy his due And like CJ Stroud a couple weeks ago, thanking the Lord.
Well, Todd might.
Performance. Yeah, Todd, the Seahawks fan, might have a problem. But the Unfiltered Sports Network, go check that one out. It's going to be a great network, as the advertisement says. Unfiltered opinions. This isn't no politically correct stuff. This is true sports fans that just want to talk sports and have a great time. So go follow them, as well as the One Jets pod. You know how this goes. This is always great. It's good for business here, folks. But before we go here tonight, first and foremost, thank you, Brandon, Eric, and Randy, for having me be the guest host for the Champagne Magic playoffs. Best of luck to you in all of the games here, or at least, I don't want to say all the games, for both the games this weekend. It's going to be a turbulent Sunday, so buckle your seatbelts. Let's go. But before we go, there was big news this week, and I want to get your initial takes on this very quickly. Out of all the coaching hires so far, the biggest one, the Chargers get Jim Harbaugh at the end of the day. What does this do for the Chargers organization? We don't have to dive into it too deep, but just quick little thoughts. Randy, I'll start with you. What does this do for a Chargers organization that's been chargering for a long time?
Well, I think they'll be better on offense, but that defense still ass, man. So I don't give a shit who's coaching there, man. If you can't fix that defense, they won't go very far. So
Eric, what do you think? Jim Harbaugh or the Chargers?
That's a really good question, man. I like the move because the Chargers need something different. And he's gonna bring something different over there, but like Randy stated, their defense is trash. So, but what I was focusing on earlier today, guys, was Bill Belichick still didn't get hired
after 2 interviews. Raheem Morris still gets the fucking job, dude.
I love it, man. I don't want him hired at all, nowhere.
That was the secondary point I was gonna bring up. Like, are you shocked Jim Harbaugh got the Chargers gig over Belichick?
No, I'm not shocked because the thing is, Bill Belichick, he's a scumbag. You could smell it a mile away. He's a piece of shit.
I'm not shocked.
You don't want to hire. You don't want to hire.
I'm shocked he didn't get the Falcons job, though. I mean, 2 fucking interviews, dude.
He didn't even get Carolina.
And Raheem Morris got 1, and he's
gonna
back
hire
in Atlanta.
him, bro. Watch.
I'm thinking.
Knock on wood. I don't think he's gonna get hired.
I'm thinking there's got to be something more where Belichick's like, I need to be coach and have a piece of that. There's got to be something that's factors.
Yeah, he probably one of the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah,
I think a lot of teams are looking at the last 2 years.
But my take real quick on the Harbaugh hire. I think it's good for the Chargers. I think you have a team that have this negative moniker with them that they are consummate underachievers, and they have been for a long time. So you get somebody like Jim Harbaugh in there that has an established winning culture in Michigan. Those players, those kids have played hard for him. Even when he was suspended, they played hard for him.
I remember that.
They spoke highly of him. And so what you do when you bring a guy like that over to that franchise that has been suffering really for so long, consummate underachievers, you give them instant validity. And that's what you do. And you have to think about that. Yeah, the other stuff, fixing certain things, that'll come. But instantly, like on the surface, like initially, you're going to have to take them, give them some respect based off of what their coach has accomplished thus far.
Yeah, and Jim Harbaugh's got the personality for the LA market. That's going to market the Chargers very well. It's going to sell the tickets. We'll see what type of free agents they bring in because of a head coach like Jim Harbaugh. So it's going to be interesting to see again.
Trickle down effect. All of that stuff matters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I forgot to ask you too, like because you guys are in the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Like when when the Chargers play or whatnot, do you guys see more red jerseys over there when you guys play them, or like let's say when the Raiders when they played them, do you see more black jerseys than powder blue? Or
when it comes to SoFi Stadium and the Chargers and the Rams, 9 times out of 10, the opposing team is more apparent at the stadium.
Wow! Every time San Diego, I mean, San Diego. I mean, the Chargers have always kind of had fair weather fans. I mean, a lot of those fans nowadays are old fucking Los Angeles Raider fans, dude. Yeah. But I will say that because I can't stand the Chargers, dude. And it's not a Jet Charger rivalry because there isn't one. I don't think. I don't believe.
I don't.
But I fucking hate the Chargers because of after the 2009 playoffs, the way their fans treated us, you know, especially me, the shit that I took and the abuse that I took physically and verbally.
Okay.
So I always say this about Charger fans. They are fucking Raider fans without the class, dude. Fuck Charger fans.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You know, that's a different experience than I've ever had. But to your point, Eric, whenever the 49ers come down and play the Rams, just Google it. Niners at Rams. It is a sea of red.
Of red, yeah.
That we call it Levi South because it's a Niners home game every time we play there. Playoffs,
it's the Los
regular
Angeles
season.
market. It's all fair weather.
You know, look at when the Chiefs play the Chargers. It's Chiefs fans. It's Cowboy fans. It's fair weather LA. There's always something better to do.
Harbaugh is going to have to bring like a culture over there where he puts that to stop. Like
he did in San Francisco when he coached San Francisco for 5 years. He put them back on the map, got them to a Super Bowl, and changed the culture of this organization.
I'll say this about the LA market, you know, real quick. You know, it's a fucking city full of Dodger fans that through baseball season, fuck San Francisco, and then football rolls around, go Niners, woo! Like, what a fucking joke.
Yeah.
You hate San Francisco for 6 months out of the year, then you love San Francisco for 6 months.
Yeah, it happens. If I was a Dodger fan, Randy would be brazzing me for that. But I'm not. I'm an Angel fan. We have our own problems.
We probably wouldn't be buddies, dude.
Oh my gosh. But either way, how it all looks, you know, that's to the future. We're in the present night now. AFC and NFC matchups this weekend. You have the Chiefs and the Ravens for the AFC title. And then, of course, in the NFC, you have the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Detroit Lions. Here is the one last look at our preset brackets from the very beginning. Eric is still pretty clean for his conference matchups. Brandon, relatively clean as well. Got 3 of the 4 finalists there. Same thing with Randy. And me, I would be the bronze butthole out of this bunch because I only have 2 of the 4 remaining. And final look at the pick'em standings. Brandon, myself, Eric, and Randy. Things can change because every game in the pick'ems this week is worth 3 points. So you never know what can happen here in round 3 of the playoffs. Randy, Brandon, Eric, gentlemen, thank you for a wonderful episode. And before we wrap it up, I'll turn it back to the OG host of the One Jets pod, Randy, to close things out tonight here for the NFC and AFC conference championship rounds here in the NFL playoffs.
There we go.
Hey, I appreciate you, Dom. Thank you for doing this, and we still got one more week of Dom. Are we gonna? Yeah, we'll do the Super Bowl.
Of course.
So yeah, again, thanks for checking us out here on the One Jets pod. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that bell notification so you stay notified every time we drop some content. If you're listening on the audio side of things, thanks for listening all the way to the end. And make sure to follow us and give a 5-star. On behalf of Brandon, Eric, and Dominic, we'll see you down the road. Go Jets.
Go Niners! Let's go!
Jets up, baby.
Welcome to Jet Life Stadium. Hit it!